This is a jug of actual high fructose corn syrup, not corn syrup, high fructose corn syrup, otherwise known as HFCS. And today, I want to find out if it tastes the same or different than sugar. This is a bit of an unusual episode for me. Normally, we don't do just testing science-y things. But that's what we're going to do today, and I think this is going to be really interesting. And I have finally built something I've thought about on the show for quite a while. This is version 1 of a solo-operated blind taste testing rig, so that I can blind taste test things without having to have somebody else come and set them up. Because I shoot in here alone. It's just you and me. Here is just some baseline stuff. Recently did an episode where we did hot Dr. Pepper, just before the holidays there. Fun idea, weird throwback to the 60s. Check it out if you missed it. I got every variety of Dr. Pepper I could have gotten at my local grocery store, except for the Dr. Pepper that's made with real sugar. And I said, it probably doesn't matter. A few people in the comments showed up and said, man, if you can't tell the difference between corn syrup and sugar, something's wrong with your mouth. You don't know what you're doing on that show. You can't tell the difference between corn syrup and sugar. And I think there's a little bit of science illiteracy happening here, because corn syrup is not high fructose corn syrup. High fructose corn syrup is an industrial product derived from corn. You can't just go buy this. I mean, you can kind of just go buy this, but you're not going to find this in the baking aisle. It's not corn syrup. It's a whole different thing. There's a couple different companies that make it, but it's an industrial product, right? And it's cheap. It's really cheap. This whole gallon was 12 bucks. So this is a high fructose corn syrup, 42%. And what that means is that 42% of this jug is fructose from corn, and the remainder is glucose. It's all sugar. 100% sugar, top to bottom, just two different kinds of sugar. Simple syrup, on the other hand, which I have right here, is made from sucrose, which is just a different kind of sugar. It is entirely possible that you can tell the difference between fructose, sucrose, and glucose. It's entirely possible that you can't. And so how am I going to do this test? Well, I built Blind Boy version 1, and this is a really simple idea. I got a turntable. I'm going to put the drinks on the turntable. And actually, I don't think we're going to do more than 2 at a time on this, but that's okay. And then I'm going to turn the turntable so I don't know where they are. I'm going to do that underneath this black painted cake tray. Okay? Just like this. But there's more. Because this isn't attached, I can rotate this, or even just float it, I guess, like that. And then I have straws. I'm going to push these into the glasses and drink through the top. And I think this is a cool idea. This is going to open up all kinds of stuff we can blind taste test on the show. You know, whiskeys, tequilas, whatever. Anything that seems close that we want to really get a non-biased difference on. There are, to my knowledge, 3 separate soft drinks that make a real sugar version. That is Pepsi, Coca Cola, Dr. Pepper, and that's it. It's very possible that there are other real sugar sodas out there that also have a high fructose corn syrup variety to compare against. I don't think it matters. I think that we've got 3, that's enough, because our question is, do we taste the difference between the 2? And you could do that with 1, really. Caveat, in researching this, I have found that it is entirely possible that there are other differences in, for example, Coke and Mexican Coke in the recipe. Now with Coke, I know that'll be the case, because Coca-Cola, to some degree, varies their recipe all around the world, wherever it is made, because it is made locally. Will it be enough to detect? I don't know. Is that true in Pepsi and Dr. Pepper? I wouldn't be surprised if there are some variances in the actual recipe between the real sugar version and the high fructose corn syrup. I bet if you change that, there might be some other stuff that you have to change. So I got real high fructose corn syrup. And what we're going to do is make some soda water that's sweetened with high fructose corn syrup and with simple syrup. Some of you are jumping ahead. You've got some sciencey minds on you. How do we know that they're the same sweetness? Maybe the sweetness of one or the other is so wildly different that you register the differences right on that. Aha! This is a portable refractometer, also known as a Brix meter. It's a pretty cool little piece of kit. You can put a drop of a liquid on there and then put that on it, and then you look at a light, and inside here's a gauge, and you can tell its Brix rating, which is what percentage of it is sugar. I tried that first between the HFCS and my simple syrup, and I got a weird reading. The HFCS came out reading less sweet, than my own simple syrup, which I don't really think made any sense. But I also think that probably this thing is for detecting sucrose, and glucose and fructose throw it off. It's just using the way light refracts through something, refractive index, basically. So, well, in my Discord, we have a Patreon. The Patreon members get access to the Discord. There's some smart people in there. And the more we researched it in the Discord there, the more we came to the conclusion that this, and we found a couple papers about this and just understanding the chemical makeup of it, this liquid should be exactly as sweet as granulated dry sugar, which means to make a high fructose corn syrup that's just as sweet as my simple syrup, I treat it like granulated sugar and I mixed it 2-to-1 in water. Condition C, I haven't tasted any of this. I have not tasted this at all. I don't know what this tastes like. I haven't done any kind of preparation on comparing these at all. It is possible that my numbers on this stuff are way off and we'll have to rethink how we do the HFCS versus simple directly. Hopefully this works and it's so close on sweetness that it really comes down to flavor, which is a different thing. So what I did was I prepped these 4 glasses that are identical and I put letters on them and I'm looking at them. I can see the letters through the glass, so we'll definitely be using the dome, although with a dark liquid in it, I'm sure I can't actually. And I will note before we started tasting which is in which glass. I will taste it and then I will reveal to myself which was which to see if I can tell the difference. And I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. I think I've talked enough. Let's start with the big daddy of them all, Coca Cola.
Wouldn't this be a good time for you and your guests to have Coca Cola too?
I'll put the real Coke into B, and I'm gonna go pretty full on these just to make it easier to get my straw in there. And then this will be A. Real sugar is in B, regular Coke is in A. Okay. Where round and round she goes, where she stops, no one knows. I will now rotate this a couple times to even further misalignment. There we have it, our blind taste test. Solo, nobody to prep this. Okay, let's start. Let's see if I can tell the difference. Not a huge fan of any part of that. These aren't that chilled. That actually tasted almost a little aspartame-y, a little bit like diet soda. It was regular, right? Nothing weird there. Okay, let's try this one. Wow, I think I can tell the difference right away. Oh, I don't know now. I thought I could. Now I don't know if I can. Shit. If there's a difference, it's very, very subtle. I think maybe this one is a little bit less sweet, maybe. This flavor might be slightly brighter and the most minutest degree a little bit more citrusy, maybe. This one foams in your mouth. Let's see if this one does too. You know, you slosh it around. They do both foam, but this has a different texture. This has a more creamier texture. It almost foams up the way like a Guinness, like a stout does, you know, where it's got like that nitrous foam. This is a sharper kind of bubbly foam. My teeth feel awful. My prediction is that if there's a difference, that this is the real sugar one. I prefer the dark purple over the pinkish straw. Let's see which is which. This is the real sugar. Subtle, but definitely there. Well, there is a difference. A check mark for real sugar. Let's go Dr. Pepper, for the one that started it all.
It's Dr. Pepper time.
So we will do B, real sugar for Dr. Pepper. And regular, old-fashioned, high fructose corn syrup Dr. Pepper going over here. In the van down by a river. Put the old dome of testing on. Round and round she goes. Where she stops, nobody knows. 2 straws. Okay, this is Dr. Pepper, HFCS versus real sugar. God damn, Dr. Pepper's delicious. Wow, I don't know if I can tell the difference on this one at all. These are so similar right now. I think maybe yellow has a slightly more pronounced cherry flavor. Maybe. It's the same flavors without a doubt. It is possible, and I could be imagining this, and it could just be like a sip to sip difference, that those flavors are unfolding and evolving in a slightly different timing and order. I get like cherry, maybe even a little bit of almond, like a marzipan kind of thing. I think that that's kind of close to where it's at. I cannot tell the difference. I can't. I'm calling this one a draw. I can't. Maybe sometimes I thought yellow had a more pronounced cherry, but let's see. That's the real sugar, but again, so subtle. I have to say that that is a mark in favor of high fructose corn syrup, because I genuinely don't know that. I suppose if I picked the sugar, I picked the sugar, but I can't even put into, I have a hard time putting it to words why that was different, you know. Maybe it was like a brighter cherry flavor. I'm gonna use the other cup so I don't have to take a break here. Let's do Pepsi.
Well, now it's Pepsi for those who think young.
This will be D and C. Real sugar goes in D. Sugar. HFCS. I gotta say, this episode has made me feel worse already than almost any episode of How to Drink I've ever done. Here we go. Pepsi. Bright and crispy. I have to think this is the HFCS, the yellow. I'm almost certain that yellow is HFCS. Oh my God, yellow was the sugar. That's crazy. What? I mean, it's distinctly better. It's so much brighter. Wow. We can totally do this again. Maybe I'm losing my damn mind. Let's see if I can pick it out of a lineup the second time in a row. I should have been doing this the whole time. I didn't even think of it. So much sugar, so much. Oh, baby. This one, to the extent that there's a difference, and it is somewhat pronounced on these now that I'm back on a second and third time. I would have picked this to be the real sugar last time. Now I'm thinking that this is the HFCS just based on the results before. So let's find out. Now it's the sugar. Want to do one more? 2 out of 3? Nailed it. These two started tasting very different, but I'm wondering if there's like a slight temperature variation here. You know, maybe I should be going through these with like a highly accurate thermometer too. Mouth feels the same. Oh, this sucks. I can't tell. I think maybe this one's better, but now I'm no confidence. I have none. That's the HFCS. I don't think you can tell. If you can tell, it's minute. All right, final test. I want to take this minute to let you know that all the glassware on How to Drink is provided by Skye Glassware. Skye asked if they could be a sponsor of the show. They make beautiful glassware, so of course they can, and I need glasses. If you like the glasses I use on How to Drink, like this guy or these or any of the glasses you've ever seen on the show, ooh, beautiful. Use the link in the pinned comment below or up here in the corner. Use code HowToDrink15 at checkout. You're going to get 15% off of your order at Visky.com. So now we're going to try our syrups. And this is A, simple. B, HFCS. And I know this is the HFCS because this guy's got the crystals. It's been sitting around for a while. Let's make it a whole 2 ounces. And 2 ounces of the HFCS, which is pouring like water because it's like all liquid. Now, you might be thinking, oh, there's going to be a different mouthfeel. or texture. I'm not gonna say that that's for sure because we're gonna liquidate the hell out of these right now with soda. Using my drink mate. You wanna use the coldest water you can, and believe it or not, agitation always helps with this. Give them a good stir. And around she goes. Yep. Tastes like sweet soda. I don't think I can tell the difference at all. I really don't. Oh man, I don't know if I can tell the difference at all. I truly can't. I really cannot tell the difference. They're exactly the same, exactly the same. No, I'm sorry. This confirms it to me that the differences you're picking up in these soft drinks is not the high fructose corn syrup. It's maybe valid, but it's other differences in the recipes. And maybe that's fine. You can prefer Mexican Coke over, quote, regular Coke all you want, but just be aware, I think that it has nothing to do with the use of high fructose corn syrup. It has everything to do with other changes in the recipe. They're identical. I'll tell you which is which, but there's no way. This was HFCS. Never in a million years could have told you that. People right now are furiously typing, oh, now we know who's paid by Big Pharma. I'm not getting paid by anybody. The flavor is identical. Maybe some highly trained sommelier could tell the difference or something. Guys, thank you so much for checking this out. I am going to do more blind taste testing on the show because this was fun and enlightening. If you enjoyed the show, please like and subscribe. Check out my Patreon if you want to hang out in the Discord with me and plan things like this. Hey, in the meantime, if you're new to the show, I've been making it for forever, and there's a lot of other episodes that you may or may not have seen, and here they are now for your enjoyment. Feel free to excoriate me in the comments on my being on the payroll of Big Corn. Good night and good luck.